So we're in the Sport Plus mode. Woo! Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're finally going to be reviewing the all-new BMW X3 M40i. Before we get into this video though, as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW of Pleasant Grove, Utah for giving me some time with this X3. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Brendan. And if you don't know, the BMW of Pleasant Grove does not charge any sort of markups over MSRP. So if you want a great deal on a BMW, like this X3 that happens to be available, then reach out to them, ask for Brendan, like I said. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 26 in the highway, with power outputs being 382 horsepower and then 369 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting off with the hood, you can see really sharp, distinctive lines there at either side, and then you got the BMW anniversary logo, which also looks pretty neat. And then popping down below, the headlights are so bright that we'll actually have to go in a little bit closer so you guys can see with the headlight design. And then notice we've got the blacked out grille here with the M logo there, camera there in the center as well. And then everything else on the bottom portion is also kind of blacked out. Putting it together, I think the X3 has a really distinctive sporty appearance, and actually you can't see it anymore, so there you go. Tire and wheel setup is 245/45/20 in the front, and then 275/40/20 in the rear. And then you notice that this one has all blacked out wheels with the blue brake caliper, and of course the anniversary logo, which also looks neat. We got these nice body painted fender flares here, and then look at the little venting piece there on the side. Notice the mirror cap blacked out, and then also the window trim, and then you can see the little roof rails on top of that. And then taking a look at the side view here with the X3, I think that it just looks good. The proportions are really solid. Now here's our key fob. We've got our unlock function, lock function with the BMW logo, and then the opening here for the hatch, and then look at like the M colors there on the side. But anyways, bada bing, bada boom. Now popping inside, you can see tons of cargo space here in the X3. We actually have a cargo cover built in from the factory, and then we also have a little charging port right there. And so yeah, SUV practicality is solid with this. And when you're all done, just press that button right there and the hatch will lower right back down. Big fan of the taillights here on the X3. They definitely look insane. They kind of look like the, swords from Halo. I never played the game, but I know some of the stuff from the game. But anyways, you got your M40i badge, you got like your X3 badge, and then again the anniversary logo. And then you guys can see parking sensors here at the bottom. And then look at the receiver hitch with the exhaust tip covers. That is cool looking. Finishing things off with the rest of the rear, I think that BMW did a really good job with the styling here on the X3. Taking a look at the door panel, really nice trim here at the top. Look at the stitching, and then you can see down below with the wood trim. And then I love the two-tone design with this particular one. And then notice we got our little X logo right there. And then look at these seats. Notice perforated all down the center portion of the seat. And then you got this for the adjustment on it. Legroom here in the back is solid. Notice we got a little storage pocket right there. And we got some vents here in the back. We got our own climate controls and some little USBs. And then headroom's also great back here. And would you look at that? We have a cup holder armrest. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you can see the stitching here at the top, and then look at the wood trim down below. And then again, you got that same two-tone design here. We've got all of our window controls, which the finish on them is very nice. Mirror adjustments, the mirrors do power fold in. And then we do have our memory seat functionality. Notice speakers here for the Harman Kardon sound system. There's another one down below. And then there is blind spot monitoring mirrors, and this has the aero mirrors. Look at that. Now with the front seat, again, really nice contrasted stitching, perforated all down the center portion of the seat. You've got your power adjustments here on the side, and we got our little M plaque. Really nice looking pedals here at the bottom, and then you can see with the light control here just up above, and then the steering wheel is manually adjustable. So taking a look at the steering wheel, really nice trim all around, and then this has the M colors on the center of the stitching, so let's kind of zoom in on that so you can see there. And then the M logo here down below with our heated steering wheel button. We do have our paddle shifters here on the back for the 8-speed automatic, and then you got practical controls like your phone controls, voice command controls. This does come with adaptive cruise control as well as steering assistance. And then we have our turn signal stock, and then we have our windshield wiper stock. Now we've got this full digital gauge cluster here. It shows you important information like how fast you're going, how much fuel range you have, you know, what drive mode you're in, and then also if you're using power or not. But when we pop into our Eco Pro mode, kind of shows you the whole setup there with the mild hybrid system. The first mode was comfort, and then when you're in the sport mode, it also shows us the RPMs because you want to know when you're hitting red lines so you don't, you know, rev the engine past that. And speaking of those different drive modes, so notice with the sport we have a standard, a plus, and then an individual, and then with comfort you just have standard, and then with Eco Pro you have standard and individual. Now in reverse, we've got a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. We also have a bird's eye view because this does have BMW's full 360 camera system, which I don't think that this needs it because it's not a huge crossover, but it's still a nice feature to have. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with the shortcut bar is great. This is obviously not BMW's newest infotainment system, but functionality on it is still great. Response time is great, like I said, and so no complaints from me. Really do like the stitching here on the dash. Looks great, and then you can see like the wood trim and the silver trim across, and then that kind of leads us to the vent section. So dual zone climate system, heated seats for the front, and then notice for like the safety tech and then the hazard lights as well. And then you notice we got like the radio preset buttons down below with a little volume control. Now this little tab right here, I will say, feels kind of out of place for this car because you got nice materials everywhere, and then this is just kind of, yeah. But regardless, you can just keep it closed, well, the tab at least, or actually rather open. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, wireless phone charging pad, and then some cup holders. So we've got our control here for the infotainment system. If you don't want to use the touchscreen function, you got a bunch of shortcut buttons in front of it. Shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. And then you guys can see with the stability control right there, that's for the camera system, your parking sensors, and then all of our drive modes here with our hill descent control. And then notice the auto hold and then the parking brake. And then here is the lid for the center console. You can see USB right inside. And then look at like all of the padding here on the top. And then with the glove box, well, I guess that's where one of our window stickers is, but nicely lined with felt, and the outside actually has some nice trim on it too. Up top here, we've got our control for the sunroof. This has a full panoramic sunroof. So sorry about my reflection because of the glare, but anyways, you can see 2023 X3 M40i. 59,950 is the base MSRP. Warranty information for your 50,000 mile new vehicle warranty. And then this has quite a few options added to it. After all options, this one stickers for $69,790, which is pretty interesting because this is less expensive than the M340i that I drove, the sedan version of this SUV basically. And so we'll see if you should go the SUV route or if you should go the sedan route. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, which do blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So setting off in the X3 M40i, and I'm really excited to drive this because I've only driven the regular X3 and then the X3 M competition. I've never driven this, quote unquote, in between variant, and so it'll be interesting for me to drive and see if this is the X3 sweet spot. I've had a lot of people tell me that I need to review this because it is. And so it'll be interesting to see if you guys are all right. Spoiler alert, you probably will be. But anyways, I like the sound on startup. It sounds so cool. Like just, it's so aggressive on startup, which is definitely fun. And it feels like an M Sport car. That's for sure. This is crazy. Like this is an SUV, like I'm higher off the ground, but it has kind of like a sportier feel to it. I'm actually gonna pop it into the Eco Pro setting, just the standard version, so then I can see how the throttle feels, and that's still pretty punchy. It's crazy how this handles. Definitely, not as good as like, the 3 Series in terms of the handling, but for a crossover, it's pretty rock solid. I'm gonna turn the temperature down quite a bit because I am a toasty human being. Yeah, suspension's pretty compliant. Yeah, I like how this drives. Again, that's in the Eco Pro mode. We'll pop into the comfort mode now. Comfort mode, there we go. Definitely more throttle response. This is actually pretty, I wouldn't say it's like uncomfortably stiff, but it's pretty stiff for an SUV. You can tell that they've spent a lot of time with making sure this actually has good handling dynamics. But from what I can remember with the X3 M competition that I drove, not nearly as stiff. But I can tell you, this doesn't feel nearly as like race car like as that X3M competition. That was definitely a crazy crossover to drive. Steering's pretty solid on this as well. See how it handles over these bumps, especially compared to like something like an X5. Yeah, definitely stiffer than like an X5. Even I would say even an X5M is softer going over that. So I guess if you're all about ride comfort, then you're going to want to jump up to the X5 rather than this. But you know what I will say is it stays nice and planted, and you don't get any like rattling or anything like that, so that's good. So we're in the Sport Plus mode. Woo! Definitely the fastest car I've reviewed today. Wow. Oh, so aggressive, and you get little pops out of the back. Yeah, definitely, like I said, definitely stiffer. This is more, it's weird. It's more like an M car than it is like an M Sport. This handles so well though. I love how responsive the transmission is. So I'm gonna pop in auto mode for a second. So getting into kind of summing things up here, I really like the looks on the X3, especially with this M Sport package. I think it looks really good on the outside. Interior, you know, obviously this is kind of more of like a luxury looking interior because of the coloration, but I think it's cool. I'd rather have this than just, you know, plain old black with the interior, but that's just me personally. And it drives really well. I think this would be a great daily driver. I think the thing to understand though is if you want more of a daily driver experience, then you know the regular X3 would provide that. Obviously you get better fuel economy than this as well, but I think the big thing with the regular X3 is suspension will be a little bit more comfortable, and if you want really comfortable suspension, then the X5, but that's obviously a much larger, more expensive vehicle. But what this does is it gives you SUV practicality, but you basically get like sports sedan handling and driving. Like this thing, it's an SUV, but it drives more like a sports car. I mean, look at this. Yeah, just power. Yeah, that's not SUV handling, that's for sure. I understand the rave. Like, this is fun. It's not just like a big heavy SUV that just has more power. It's a like nimble driving SUV that, like, it does have more power, but like it handles it well, and it handles well. So I'm super impressed with this thing, frankly. I think that BMW did a great job with this. Let me know what you guys think about this X3 M40i, but I think this might be the, you know, smaller performance SUV sweet spot because it's, you know, quite a bit more affordable compared to, I don't know, like the Porsche rival. Audi SQ5, that would be an interesting one. Huh. I like this engine more than the SQ5. Sorry, I had to just think there for a second. The SQ5's fun. I like this engine more though. But let me know which one you guys would pick. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this X3. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW of Pleasant Grove, Utah for giving me some time with this X3. Check out the inventory in the description down below. Ask for Brendan if you have any questions. I'll see you.